They're pretty rare in churches. Very briefly, the health challenge that I've been going through for the last 5.5 years was something in my digestive tract, and taking all the tests and doing everything I was doing and them not finding anything. It's so interesting, it kept continuing, and I kept finding out, oh no, you're healthy, you're healthy, you're healthy, you're healthy. But we'll look for this, we'll look for that, not being able to find anything. But I want to give a praise report for that. It was either 5 or 6 weeks ago. I actually, in my own brain, I was in a hurry to get back to Western Massachusetts. I think I'd stayed up late on Saturday night getting some work done. I had not slept that well. Timothy had to go to work early, so he wasn't there to help me get my stuff together. So when service ended, I was just ready really to have Karen put some food in a bag for me and hit the road. I was also feeling a little dizzy, and so I mentioned that to a few people around me. And Jennifer said, would you mind if we just go into the back of the room, and would you mind sitting in a chair and allowing me to give you some Reiki? I'll give you my honest inside experience of her asking me that question. My honest inside experience was, I have had more Reiki than I can count over the last 5 years. I have had Pentecostals lay hands on me and speak in tongues. I have done pretty much every suggested diet thing. Probiotics, I learned how to make my own probiotic pickles so that I could make sure I was feeding my gut good stuff. And so for me it was like, I had no conscious faith in anything happening, except that I got to make Jennifer happy by receiving the gift she wanted to give me.
Right.
And so I went and I sat down, and she put her hands on me, and suddenly the electricity up my spine had my whole body shaking like that, and I had an inside picture of being in that same light field that I was in when I flatlined. I went there and I visited. Jennifer was also trembling, and afterwards we both said it was completely powerful, and she said that something had been removed from the left side or right side?
It was the right side is where I was working.
The right side, some shadow energy was being removed. And so what I would like to say about that is that I didn't sit in that chair to receive Reiki with any conscious faith that any healing was going to happen. So if anything was going to happen, it was going to have to override the fact that I had no faith in it happening. And Spirit, I give you this testimony, Spirit can override my lack of faith. Spirit can do what it does even when I am just, all I am is willing. Oh, I'm willing to sit down so Jennifer can do her thing. But over 5.5 years, every time I went to a healer, any kind of healer, a nutritionist or whatever, I went with this, I really want this to work. I really hope this works. I really hope this solves my problem. I need to be healed. Please let this be the thing. I had that investment. With Jennifer, I had no investment. Okay, my sister wants to lay hands on me. I'll let her. Make her happy. I like her. And since she did that, it's gone. It's been over 5 weeks now, and I am a new creation. I have not been visited with that challenge at all. I have, and I'm so proud to brag on it, I have put on 8 pounds. It reminded me of a time when I was the pastor of Hope Church in Amherst, Massachusetts. And I would say the biggest, I only had one identifiable problem in my life, only one identifiable dark spot on my white linen life, and that was my brother-in-law. It was my sister's choice of men. She had a man who was challenged with crack cocaine, challenged with alcohol, challenged with acting out, getting paid on Friday and not coming home until Sunday night without any money. He had all these challenges. In my opinion, he was bringing my sister down. She was a go-getter. She was highly educated. She was a consultant. She made more money in a month than I made in a year at the time. She worked for big corporations all over. When her man came into her life, she suddenly seemed suppressed by his energy, and it seemed to me that he was suffocating her. She stopped working, she lost the pep in her step, and she seemed to have no more joy. Her life was just about dealing with her man. Well, he was the kind of guy that created a lot of stuff that involved the police. And I had been living with him as my dark spot on my white linen for probably 7 years at that point. And every time I saw him, I got the creeps. And I used to say, he gives me the creeps. I later found out that I gave me the creeps and I invoiced him for it. But at the time, I truly believed that he gave me the creeps. And one Saturday night, I got a phone call like, you have to get here. And I heard all this stuff going on in the background. I heard stuff smashing. I heard my niece screaming. And I heard somebody saying, I'm calling the police. And so I got over to my sister's house, and there'd been this huge thing, and she didn't want to press charges, and so he got to stay there. And all I prayed was, I just hope he doesn't come to church tomorrow. So the next day, I'm in the pulpit, Reverend Carlos Anderson, sitting in the minister's chair, which looked like a little throne in that church. Looked like a man of God should be sitting in that chair. And I'm sitting there because I'm positive he won't be coming to church, certainly after what he did last night. And all of a sudden, right before the church service started, when the choir was going to give 2 opening songs for our praise songs, in walks my sister and her man. She walks over to the piano just in time to begin the service, and he walks up on stage to a microphone. And out of my sister's mouth I hear, my brother Carlos, Pastor Carlos, has been singing the leads on 2 songs since he was 15 and I was 14. I've decided today to give my man the gift that he has been asking for, which is to sing Pastor Carlos's leads on these 2 choir songs. I was livid. I was spitting nails. I'm sitting there in front of everybody in the pastor's chair, which looks like a little throne, meant for somebody who is so filled with God that he or she cannot be rocked and not be made to be livid in church. I was livid. I sat there shaking. I visualized getting up, snatching the mic, cussing him out in front of the congregation and telling him where he could go.
Yep.
That wasn't into a pew. I was livid at him. I was so livid at my sister. How codependent could she be that he would do that last night and have the police called, and then the next day at church, she's going to give him the present of singing my songs? I didn't know what was gonna happen, y'all, but I thought maybe somebody was gonna maybe have to call the police on me. Because I've got a street boy living in me. I've got a guy that can fight living in me. I got that little kid that was molested that said, when I grow up, I'm not gonna let nobody screw around with me no more. So I was probably as mad as I could get. I'm sitting there, she's doing the music. He starts singing my favorite song that I have sang since I was 15. I just said, I need some help.
Yeah.
And then I heard a quiet voice that for me is the voice of Jesus. You might call it the voice of the Holy Spirit. Some might call it my own higher self. Call it what you will. For me, all my life, it has been the voice that I recognize to be the voice of Yeshua ben Yosef, or Ishio, or Jesus. And the voice quietly suggested this. Reverend, when Jesus calls me Reverend, I know I better, I know I better listen up, because why would he do that unless he's getting ready to school me? Reverend? Yeah. I would like you to try something. I would like you to close your eyes. I would like you to take a deep cleansing breath. Fill your lungs completely with the breath of life. Hold it for a moment, and then release from your mouth with an audible sigh. After you release the breath completely, I would like you to open up your eyes, and I would like you to look at my brother, your sister's man, and see if it's possible for you to see him as you think I would see him. To look upon him as you imagine I would look upon him. I'm like, okay, you give me this assignment, like, I'm gonna do what you are instructing, and good luck if you think anything's gonna happen positive as a result of it. I closed my eyes. I'm still livid. I'm still shaking with anger. I close my eyes. I take a deep breath into my nostrils. I fill my lungs with the breath of life. I hold for a moment. I release with an audible sigh, and the sigh was not a sigh. The sigh was a groan. It was the sound of a woman in labor. And when I finished, I opened my eyes and I turned to look at my sister's man at the microphone singing my song. And I cried like a baby. I had never seen anything in my life so beautiful. I looked at him as I imagined he would be looked at with the eyes of the Creator. He was exquisitely beautiful. So beautiful that I couldn't figure out how I had failed to notice it. How I had looked at him through the lens of my judgments and my condemnations, which I thought were righteous judgments and righteous condemnations for the good of God. That was 14 years ago. Every time I see him, I get tears in my eyes. Because every time I see him, I see the most beautiful person I have ever seen. A Course in Miracles says, the holiest spot on earth is when a past hatred becomes a current love. I love my sister's man more than I love my sister experientially. You know why? I never hated my sister. The holiest spot on earth is not where you've always loved somebody and always been fond of them. It's when you have hated somebody and you let go of it and you love them. Everyone who knows us says one of their best experiences is when they see me see him. I've had people take photographs of me looking at him, and you would think it was a photograph of me looking at the living personification of Christ Almighty. I didn't have any faith that I could take a deep breath, let it go, close my eyes, open them, and have a transformation. I had no faith in that. All I had was a little willingness. All I had when I sat down in a chair for my sister to lay hands on me was a little willingness. I'm just willing to go sit in the chair. I don't expect anything to happen. But then something life-transforming happens. So sometimes I ask myself, what is it about my investment? If I'm invested heavily in something, is that not evidence of fear-based thinking? Of separation-based thinking? In New York last week at my workshop, someone brought in this money thing and said, I affirm all the time for money. I pray all the time for money. On my refrigerator, I have a treasure map about the house that I want, about the car that I want, the man that I want. I am constantly working with God and working with the law of attraction, and I'm really doing my thing. And more and more and more, it's like I believe and I know it's going to come, and I know if I start tithing 10% or if I take the 4 T's class, I know that prosperity is coming. And the more they are involved in that, the more they're trying to get more prosperous. There's an underlying I am statement going on. And that I am statement is, I am a person who doesn't have enough. I do not have enough prosperity. I do not have enough money. I do not have enough financial security. That's the I am statement. And the most powerful words ever utterable in the universe are the words I am. Because I am is your declaration of what is true for you. And when you say I am, even if they never come out of their mouth with it, if they're going, I really am hoping this investment works out, or I'm counting on, inside it's, I really need this to work because I am limited in my finances. I need more money. And the more you shout to the universe, I need more money, the universe shouts back, your wish is my command, baby. You need more money. My finances are limited. Oh, your wish is my command. Your finances are limited. I don't have enough to get a larger apartment. Hey, you're God. Your word is God's word. You don't have enough money to get a new apartment. It's what's going on deep down inside. It's that identity of the I am. Some of us have an I am. I'm sick and tired of this and that. I'm sick and tired of the politics that are happening. I'm sick and tired of racism. I'm sick and tired of sexism. Sick and tired of homophobia. Sick and tired of the way it is. You're God. You get to be sick and tired. Your word is law. That's why Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life before he ever got crucified. He was doing an I am statement beyond the manifestation period of that's reality. He said, I'm the resurrection before he ever got hung on the cross. Why? He saw and claimed the future. If you want more prosperity, count your blessings. Look at the prosperity already bestowed upon you. If you want a 2-bedroom apartment, bless the studio apartment that you have right now, or the couch that someone is letting you sleep on in their apartment right now. If you want something more, thank God for what you've got. Because we keep pretending that we are limited in this country when we are not limited. The poorest one among us is richer than 87% of the human beings on this planet. We waste more food than other people use to feed themselves for a month. We pretend we're lacking. count your blessings and thank God for your prosperity. I've been doing a little affirmation since we were kids that Mom had us do. Every day, I want you to wake up and say, I am happy. But don't just say it, because if you just say it, ain't nothing going to happen. That's not vital enough. When you say I'm happy, feel it. Think of something that gives you the feeling of being happy. There's got to be something. Even in a world like this, there's got to be something. Even with your finances and your relationships causing you some stress and strain, there's got to be something you're happy about. Concentrate on it and feel the happiness within you. And then I am healthy. Feel the health within you, even though you might be going through some little process that looks like an experience of dis-ease. I am wealthy, and look for your wealth. Edwene Gaines said, at one point, in order to increase her prosperity consciousness, instead of asking God and the universe for more money to come in, she found out, what can I do that makes me feel rich? And at that time in her life, with the income that she had in her life, she was able to treat herself to a $4 Cuban coffee. That was a stretch for her. $4 on coffee, that's a chicken and some rice. But once a month, she would go and get her a $4 cup of Cuban coffee, and she felt rich. It made her feel wealthy. And that feeling is creative. The words out of our mouth, they're not creative. But those words attached with feeling, that's why the scripture says, as a person thinks in their heart, it's that emotion that has to be connected to that mental attribute. They get together, pregnancy happens. They don't get together, ain't no pregnancy happening. You ain't giving birth to nothing. But connect your heart with the words, with the thoughts of your mind, and I am wise. I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise. That's affirmation my mother gave us when we were children, and I've been doing it off and on most of my life. As you know, I have another affirmation that declares what the day is. I wake up every day and the first words out of my mouth are, it's the best day ever. And I will not change my mind. And I don't. I am statements. Are you saying to the universe, I am what I say I am? And the universe doesn't edit. It doesn't care what you say you are. I am a suffering person because my marriage dissolved and I am the product of molestation, and I am a broken man because I grew up in a broken home, and the universe goes, hey, your word is law. You get to be a broken man. And so what you say, what you declare, is God's will for you. Every time you say, if it's God's will, God is saying, hey, no, baby, if it's your will. You're saying, thy will be done. God is going, no, honey, thy will be done. No, thy will be done. No, thy will be done. You get to have it be what you want it to be. You get to be who you say you are. You get to have whatever story you want. And we will not edit, because you are a created one who is a creator one. The second most powerful words you can use are you are. Same dynamic, except sneakier. You are sneakier. Because every time you say you are, what you're really saying is I am in a sneaky way. The stuff you don't want to acknowledge that I am, I gotta find somebody else out there and say you are. And so we love to look at other people and we love to mind other people's business, even though we were born to mind our own. And we love to make you our statements that are not creative, but that are destructive, that are not uplifting, but that are down-putting. And we always, as I said earlier, there's always a wonderful, beautiful, clear target for us to aim our poisonous arrows at. But really, it's ourselves we are condemning. It's a you are statement is an I am statement uttered in a really sneaky way. But you're not fooling the universe. You are not fooling the Creator. I love growing up, and I love when somebody would call me a name. You little ugly, nappy-headed boy. And sometimes I would answer back with, I know you are, but what am I? Carly, you so stupid. I know you are, but what am I? Or sometimes I'd go, takes one to know one. When I was a kid, I was good at not catching the ball. People could call me what they wanted to call me, and I would just come back, I know you are, but what am I? Takes one to know one. Oh, you must be looking in the mirror. But I'll tell you one thing, if anybody called me anything that I suspected I was, if somebody called me, you and your family are so poor. You are so poor. Yeah, look at y'all's house. It's about to fall down. If they said any of those things, it got in. Because I believed what they were saying. I believed we were poor. I believed we didn't have enough money. I believed our house was unkempt. And so if there's anything, if somebody calls you anything outside of a child of God, and you feel yourself getting hooked by it, all you have to know is there's something in me that believes that. Because if there's nothing in you that believes it, you don't get touched by it. There is no one on the planet that could ever tell me I'm not a good father. All I would do is smile because I know I'm a good father. But if anybody says, I think you were a pretty lousy husband, I'd feel that one. I was only 22. What did I know? I did my best. What did I know? I'm going to end with this. When people in our world fall short of the glory of God, when the people in our world dysfunction on some level, we tend to say that's who you are. If someone cheats, we don't say that person has cheated. We say, you're a cheat. If someone steals, you're a thief. We don't say you're a child of God who ripped off a candy bar. No, you're a thief. I like that I ran across the information about a tribe in Africa. A tribe where they do it in a very different way. When someone misbehaves, when someone goes amiss, they gather that person and put them in the middle of the big circle, and the whole tribe is around them. And they begin to speak to that person. If the person cheated on their beloved and stole their neighbor's chicken, they do not say, Mombasa, you're a thief and a liar. They tell that person in the center, Mombasa, you are pretending to be who you are not. You are the child of God, Mombasa. You are a man of integrity. Your mission is only to do what is right. On the day that you were born, there were 2 double rainbows. This is an indication, Momba, that you are meant to be great. You have simply forgotten who you are, Mombasa. And we will not let you out of this circle until you remember you are a man of God. You are a man of courage and power and integrity. You are here to give, not to take. We will not let you out of the circle until you remember who you are, Mombasa. Tell them about the fox. Oh yes, not only the double rainbow, but when your mother carries you out A fox runs through. You know what this means, Mombasa. You're here to be a great spiritual man, to connect us with our own connection to the Almighty One. And we will not let you out of the circle until you remember who you are. I sometimes wonder what my life and your life and our lives would be like if every time someone dysfunctioned, fell short, missed the mark, if instead of us calling them out, calling them a thief, calling them a liar, calling them dysfunctional, calling them a loser, calling them whatever we call them, what if we did like the people in the circle in Africa? What if I had done that with my ex-wife, dude? I'd probably still be married with about another 8 kids. But when she misbehaved, I didn't call her into a circle and lift her up. And when I misbehaved, she didn't call me into no circle and lift me up. Because our tendency is to put down people who are already put down. And so I want you to think about, catch yourself, think about what you follow the words I am with. And I want you to be conscious of using, that is your power point. That's your power statement. When you say I am, I want you to follow it with something uplifting, something creative, and I want you to feel it. I want you to sit there until you feel it. Until you feel that's what you are. And when someone in your field misbehaves, falls short, or misses the mark, I want you to extend to them the most uplifting affirmation you can possibly access. And if something seems difficult or someone in your life seems difficult, I want you to remember me saying to you today, maybe all it takes is a little willingness for you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in through your nostrils, fill your lungs completely with the breath of life, release with an audible sound that might even sound like a woman in labor, with its intensity as it is released from your energy field. And then open your eyes and imagine, what would God look upon him or her and see? What would the Holy Spirit look upon him or her or see? What would I, if I did not think I was the victim, look upon them and see? Just a little willingness. It may work miracles. It may make a very subtle difference that you don't recognize right away. But something will happen. Something will happen. You have no power on your own. You're like a cell phone that hasn't been plugged in.